Also, keep an eye on them from a national perspective because I know you air a lot of their games as well on Sunday Night Baseball. So it has not been fun the last 3 weeks for the Phillies. Has there been anything that has stood out to you that could have led to this sort of downfall for the Phillies?
I don't think. I mean, look, the one component is they obviously need a healthy Harper, and I thought that this team would score more. But, they're still right there for a playoff spot, and they're, 9 over. I don't know that it's quite time to push the panic button. I understand after winning the East last year and disappointingly losing to the Mets, this is not the path that people want, but it's still a pretty good team. I don't know what's fixable and what's not fixable. Like I said, I am surprised they haven't scored more. When I think of the Phillies, the first thing I think about is you're going to go in and play them, and you're going to have to take a deep breath from the jump because of their ability to pound you with the top part of their order, and you don't feel it quite as much. You definitely don't feel it with Harper out. And I understand, in the late stages, what you're talking about in terms of, the bullpen and how unsettling that is. The one other component that I would say, and this is a great one as far as old school versus new school. 40 years ago, we would have looked at the Phillies and they're either fewest or tied for fewest errors in the league, and you'd be like, hey, they have a pretty good defense. And there is nothing in advanced metrics that says they have a good defense. In fact, they have a really not good defense. And I think that factors in. When the ball is in play, they don't do a great job of securing outs. That's a problem in terms of, a little bit of what you think is bullpen is actually defense is one of the points.
Yeah, I texted you after Monday night's game that the Phillies were that was one of the most atrocious games I've ever seen. And the Phillies won it, and it was just terrible. 3 guys thrown out on the base paths, all the double plays. I mean, this team has been really frustrating to watch. There's a difference between aggression and not playing the game the right way. When you see the Phillies, do you see a team that plays the game the right way?
I think so. I mean, did you think they played the game the right way last year?
No, I screamed about it all the time. They run the bases dumb. They're not fundamentally sound as far as decisions that they make. I get frustrated all the time with the way that this team approaches the game.
Yeah, it's not what jumps out at me, and I guess ultimately, it's one of those conversations. Look, I want. The Cubs, for example, run the bases really well, and they're aggressive, and they actually make outs on the bases. But it's a high baseball IQ team, and they've been fun to watch. I would just say this, that you don't want to lose sight of the big picture, and the big picture is the teams that win do the big things well. So, you can focus on the little stuff, and I'm not saying that I get it. It's frustrating, but if you can sort of get out of your feelings for a second and think about, yeah, they need to score more. They need to touch the plate more. And those aren't on one-run plays. Those are on multiple-run plays. So they got to hit the ball over the fence more. They've got to slug more with guys on base, stuff like that.
In your view, what do you make of Jesus Luzardo's struggles as of late? Is it mechanical, or is it something as simple as him tipping his pitches?
Man, the tipping of the pitches thing, I wouldn't know. I feel like it's a place that people default to when it gets really bad. I think the thing that's funny is, he got off to such a ridiculous start, and he's a very good pitcher. But I guess in the end, if you were to look at, the past 2, obviously, with 20 runs, it's a little much, but it's just kind of regression. It's the way stuff works usually. Like somebody that hits, 280 doesn't hit 280 in April, 280 in May, 280 in June. You know what I'm saying? The same way a guy that finishes with a 360 ERA, he doesn't have a 360 ERA the entire year. He's going to have a 2 1 month. He's going to have a 6 1 month. I think that's more of what you're seeing. It's just sort of the ebbs and flows of the season.
From your point of view, what do you make of Rob Thompson as the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies? There's sometimes grousing that he doesn't show much energy at times, but I also know that anybody that talks to him loves him and his insight on baseball. So what's your perspective on Topper?
I mean, I think that he has the respect of that clubhouse. And honestly, I think in Chicago, we dealt with the same thing. I mean, they paid Craig Counsell $8 million, and he is, generally considered as good a manager as there is in the game. And last year they won 83 games. And he's somebody that will get ejected, but he's pretty stoic. He's pretty placid. And when the team isn't touching the plate, and when, say, a Suzuki is getting his standard pitch that's a ball called a strike, and he doesn't go out there and pull a Lou Piniella, people start to freak out. I think it's really a matter of taking the results and then coloring, what you're frustrated by, as opposed to, vice versa. You don't have any problem if they're scoring 8 runs a game, and in tight spots delivering, you're sitting there and looking at Rob Thompson and saying, gosh, he reflects calm, and they stay calm because of Rob Thompson. And then when they're not scoring, it's like they're flat because their manager has no energy. That's what I believe.
Who's the best team you put eyeballs on this year?
It's a great question. I would say Detroit. I just saw them, but it's not by a lot. I saw Detroit on Saturday, and I saw the Yankees on Sunday, and I've been watching the Dodgers. I would say it's Detroit right now, but I think that, this thing is wide open, man. Look, from a Cubs perspective, I thought this was going to be an 86-win team. And I don't know internally that they thought it was going to be a whole lot better than that. But now here they are in what is, look, this isn't the National League East, right? This is a division that is a lesser division in the Central. But the Cubs have an opportunity right here. So, they played, I think, better than what, is actually their talent level. But they're good enough, and they've shown, in my opinion, that none of these teams, none of the elite teams at peak are blow you away. So as much as we wanted to talk about the Dodgers are ruining baseball because they have all this talent, and obviously they're going to get healthier, but I don't think the gap between the teams at all the way up top and, even the mid-level quality teams is that big. So, as much as we're having this conversation right now, things can get turned around, and I think you could be very happy with the Phillies as a possibility. Because I'll tell you this, I didn't think that it was a remote possibility that the Cubs could win the World Series. I'm not saying the Cubs are going to win the World Series, but the Cubs don't have a 0% chance to win the World Series. If the Cubs played the Yankees 10 times in a 7-game series, the Cubs would win 2 or 3 times. And that's enough, man, in terms of giving yourself a chance. And I would, I don't think that there's a big difference between the Cubs and the Phillies, to be perfectly honest with you. So that's my take on it. I know you'd because of the level of success the Phillies have had of late, the expectations are higher than for what the Cubs have had. But I think you just kind of got to take a deep breath and, let it play itself out.
Well, deep breaths.
Get Harper back.
Deep breath's my fastball. You know that. So.
Everybody, thank you so much for being a part of our journey on a daily basis, watching here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate you doing that because it makes our jobs a lot better when the bosses are happy. So thank you very much, and keep on watching.